Hello, my name is Caitlin Walker, a senior at Shaker Heights High School and a member of the City Club Youth Forum Council. I'm thrilled to welcome you all to this forum. Our speaker today will address many public safety issues relevant to teens. One such issue is known as distracted driving. For teens, that translates to texting while driving. Texting is a recent technological breakthrough that most of us are extremely familiar with, that has also become a very integral part of our lives. Texting has become so important that we have created our own language used specifically for that purpose. Although texting has a myriad of benefits, it can also be a huge distraction, especially when driving. Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood says, "If it were up to me, I would ban drivers from texting immediately." Secretary LaHood is not alone. Many state and local officials have passed laws banning texting while driving. A July study from the Virginia Tech Transportation Institute focused on long-haul truck drivers, finding that drivers who text are 23 more times likely to crash than those who don't. The inherent danger of texting is obvious, but enacting laws and bans simply isn't enough. Our purpose today is to gain a better understanding about how the Ohio Department of Public Safety works with teens and for teens to ensure safety in schools, communities, and at home. Our speaker will also help us better understand the dangers of driving while texting. Our speaker is well versed about such issues and concerns. Through her experiences as an officer and a government official, she has gained an incredible wealth of knowledge. Cathy Collins-Taylor, Director of the Ohio Department of Public Safety, is here today to share her perspective on keeping teens safe in Ohio. As the Director of the Ohio Department of Public Safety, Ms. Collins-Taylor advises the governor and staff on issues relating to the divisions within the department, which include an administrative division, Homeland Security, Office of Criminal Justice Services, Ohio Investigative Unit, Ohio State Highway Patrol, and the Ohio Traffic Safety Office. Please join me in warmly welcoming Ms. Cathy Collins-Taylor.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Caitlin, for that wonderful acknowledgement and introduction. I laugh because I can't believe this room was this quiet at lunchtime when you have this many teenage people in a room. I know there's a lot of energy in there somewhere. I'm waiting for it to come out. And I'm going to guess it's coming out during the question and answer period. Thank you very much. On behalf of Governor Ted Strickland and the Ohio Department of Public Safety, thank you for having me here today. I just want to let you know that I brought my Chief of Staff with me today, Mike McCann. A little story about Mike and I. Mike and I started Columbus Police Academy 32 years ago. So from our first days being law enforcement officers, Mike and I knew each other. Our careers have kind of paralleled each other, and we caught back up after we went to work at the state. But Mike is has a strong labor background. He was very active in the FOP doing some labor work for the lodge in Columbus. And he's also an extremely well-known love this, extremely well-known homicide detective, where he did, for about 13 years, he got all the high-profile cases in Columbus. So feel free to ask questions of him, too, when the questions and answer time starts, especially if you've got an interest in law enforcement. I've had the pleasure of serving as the Director of the Department of Public Safety for about a month now. I'm in week number 5. It's been a whirlwind of meeting new people and getting settled into the job and learning about the variety of issues that the department is dealing with. I'm still constantly amazed at the number of different organizations and partners the department works with on a daily basis. I've been invited to speak to many groups over the past month, but I have to say this is one of the most exciting and energetic groups I've spoken to yet, because all of you are our future, and I'm very proud to say that about you. As I'm sure you can probably guess from our name, the Department of Public Safety is tasked with the mission of saving lives and reducing injuries and economic loss in Ohio. We also administer the motor vehicle laws through the Bureau of Motor Vehicle section. I suspect a majority of you either have recently dealt with the BMV or are soon planning on stopping by your local deputy registrar to get your temporary permit or to get that first driver's license. It's an exciting time for you, but one of serious responsibility also. What you might not realize is just how many different ways there are to work to protect Ohioans, and even down to the teenage level. The Department of Public Safety has various divisions that together cover all aspects of public safety, from the enforcement of traffic safety laws through the Ohio State Highway Patrol, to education, outreach, and coalition building for driver safety issues like seatbelt use and drunk driving through our Ohio Traffic Safety Office. We house the Division of Homeland Security, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, the Emergency Management Agency, which plays a critical role in keeping Ohioans safe by assisting local, state, and federal partners in times of disaster or emergency, and serving as a hub to coordinate the state's response to an emergency. A little known fact is if the snow gets so bad in Ohio, that's me, and I will take contributions. I'm the one for calling a statewide snow emergency, which means all the schools are canceled. People think of weather emergencies as major snow, flooding, or tornadoes, but the Emergency Management Agency is also currently helping to coordinate the state response to the swine flu, the H1N1, as we enter into this flu season. And I'm sure we all know somebody who's been touched by that. Public safety also works with the emergency medical services. The EMS division helps the state to develop and enhance its statewide comprehensive response to injury, illness, and fire through education, training, and certification of the state's firefighters and emergency medical services personnel. Through the Office of Ohio Criminal Justice Services, we also work to reduce and prevent crime in the state through research, technology, grant administration, and programmatic initiatives. All criminal justice funds that come from the federal government into Ohio get passed through and are distributed by the Office of Criminal Justice Services. The last division is one of the divisions that I am most familiar with because prior to becoming the director, I was the executive director of this division. The Ohio Investigative Unit, of which I hope none of you have had any contact with, is one of our most unique divisions because it's made up of undercover agents who are the only law enforcement in the state with the ability to cite an establishment's liquor permit. They also have a strong focus on underage drinking. In addition to enforcing the state liquor laws, they're also responsible for enforcing tobacco and food stamp violations. Through a variety of programs, the agents work hard to educate bar owners, servers, patrons, parents, and teens about underage drinking and tobacco use. By a show of hands, how many people in this room have been part of the Ohio Investigative Unit's Sober Truth program in schools? Do we have anyone here? We need to get our Cleveland district a little bit more involved in that. You may have heard about it. It's a program where, for those of you who might have gone through DARE, it's similar, but it's targeted at high school, and now they've expanded it to middle schools to teach the legal, moral, ethical, medical ramifications of underage drinking and how if you get caught drinking underage, how the effects and the long-term consequences about getting into college, what happens at college, getting into graduate school, and even how it could cost you a job down the line. You don't need to tell me that the issues that impacting your lives daily are many. I'm not even a teen, and I know you're probably hit each day with an overwhelming number of rules, guidelines, decisions, and things to think about, especially as you start exploring your college experiences. I'll try not to add too much to that list, but I will let you know that I'm a parent of two former teenagers. One's just barely out of that age, and as a law enforcement officer, you can believe me, I was their worst nightmare. We do have some key issues within the department that we do want to work with teens on, though. And I mean it when I say that we want to work with you. We don't want to preach to you, and we certainly don't like being the party poopers.